There's cell phone video of the attack that happened at this Tim Hortons that's been circulating on social media. But we blurred out everyone's faces because there are people in the video who had nothing to do with this. And there's also the 13-year-old girl who's charged. Niagara Falls police told us today that 37-year-old Brittany Robinson and 30-year-old Brianna Harris and the 13-year-old girl are charged with gang assault in the second degree. They're accused of assaulting a Tim Hortons manager after a group of girls was asked to leave the Pine Avenue Tim Hortons Sunday night. And as they were leaving, police say comments were made back and forth. One of the girls said she'd come back with someone else. Police say 10 minutes later, they returned with two women, and that's when the attack happened. The teen was issued an appearance ticket to report to Niagara County Probation. Her case will be handled by family court. I asked a Niagara Falls police captain to explain what these charges mean.
The gang assault portion just refers to the level of the assault, which is considered a serious physical injury, and the fact that there were more than two people participating in the actual attack and injury. It's got nothing to do with anybody belonging to a gang. It just refers to the number of people that were participating in the incident.
The 42-year-old manager is out of the hospital. When we contacted Tim Hortons yesterday, they told us they're, quote, horrified by what happened. And the dining room there will now close at 2 p.m. with the entire store closing at 8. Both women are being held on $20,000 bail. They're scheduled to be back in court Wednesday morning. Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
Hello, my name is Antoine Williams. The date is June 3rd, 2023, and I thought this would be a perfect way to start this channel, is this video. Reason being, I go to this Tim Hortons. Like every once in a while when I'm actually like in the mood for coffee, I usually ride down here on like my lunch break or whatever, and I'll get a coffee and donuts, which will be a lot harder now since they're changing their hours after this. I've heard from people, and I think I've seen it online, that now, after like 2 or something, you have to go through drive-through. You can no longer walk in. So I guess I have to just ask them what donuts and stuff they have, because I'm not going to be able to walk in and just look before I order. But I thought this was a very interesting video. And on top of that, I looked it up and I found some more information, and I thought it deserved commentary. This is what I found. It says, I found a second article. It goes through the details. It says, this is a story Arvello shared in an exclusive interview with News 4 Tara Lynch. She says it began when several teenagers walked into the store without an adult. Per that location's policy, which, by the way, I've walked in here, it's right on the door. It says right on the door, if you're under 18, also it says, no children under the age of 18 are allowed in the store without an adult, according to Arvello. She says she asked the teens to leave after they pleaded to order a few drinks. She allowed them to make their purchases and then told them to enjoy them elsewhere. She says the teens lingered in the lobby of the store, and she had to ask them to leave an additional time. They eventually left, but were talking trash, in parentheses, according to Arvello. Minutes later, they returned asking if Arvello had a problem with them. I bet she has a problem with you now. Beat her up. If there's a problem, and if you guys... Oh, this is a quote from her. It says, this is what she said. If there's a problem, and if you guys are upset by me asking you to leave, you can have your mothers come in here and talk to me like adults, and I'll explain to them why I asked you to leave my store. Sounds kind of reasonable. What could go wrong here? Arvello explained. Arvello says she called the police after feeling like there would be a problem with the group who remained on the store's property. That was some good foresight into the situation. That's when several women entered the store asking store employees who called my daughter a bitch. Or who called my daughter a B. Because it says B here, because I guess it's the news, they can't just say the word. According to Arvello, she says the front counter clerk told them no one said that, but then several people, whom Arvello claims she doesn't know, went around the corner and began allegedly attacking Arvello, as you can see in the video, or you can like see, blurred out. Which it's probably bad. It'd be kind of. I don't really want to see how bad that beating was, because somewhere in here, it says, I found somewhere in here Where does it say it? Which I thought was like, that's kind of fucked up. I have multiple articles open here. Let me see. One of them said it. One of them mentioned. Oh wait, here we go. Here we go. The victim was hospitalized for treatment. She was literally taken to Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center, where a brain bleed was discovered. She says she spent a few days in the South Bay Mercy Hospital ICU. That's fucked up. That's why I made. That's why I did that. That's why I decided to make a video on this. Is because. So you have some kids in there. I do think it's kind of weird they have a policy where they don't even want like kids in the store. That's kind of weird without an adult. Like, this city's very small. I went to the Niagara Falls I went to the Gaskill Middle School. That's like 2 blocks over. When I got out of classes sometimes, or when my school was up, this was like 2005. But when I got out of classes, I would sometimes go in there. I didn't drink coffee, but they had like the frozen lemonade. I would get that. And I liked going there sometimes. Or like, we'd walk down there, get hot coffee, we'd get hot chocolate when it was cold. So I do think it's kind of, when I seen that paper on the door, I thought it was kind of strange. Like, you're not going to let kids in here? Like, she definitely didn't deserve this, but you could kind of see this coming down the line. Like, you got a bunch of people, you got a bunch of kids that go to school right next to you. They walk up and see this sign. 99 out of 100 kids are gonna be like, okay, whatever. I'm just not gonna go in. Oh, this place sucks. Screw them. No, they're not letting me go unless I have an adult. But there's that 100th person who's gonna be annoyed, and yeah, they'll do this. Like, well, maybe not this will happen, but they'll get pissed off. They'll argue with you. They'll be like, what the fuck? Or they'll be like, oh, just let me. Why can't I buy a drink? It's gonna be a confrontation. Then you have that 1 in 1,000 person who does this, and yeah, I don't know what the thought process was on this. Like, this is now blown up. I was just talking to someone who works at another Tim Hortons about this yesterday, and I was saying to him, like another Tim Hortons in Niagara Falls, and I was saying to him, it looks like they're gonna get like now they're a 2nd-degree gang assault charge. Just that sucks to get. Like even if it gets plead down, like, I don't know the law or anything like to that level, but I would assume this is not something you want. Especially, like, I'm reading right here, and I googled it. It says imprisonment conviction of the crime. I googled 2nd-degree gang assault charge punishment, and this came up. It says imprisonment conviction of the crime of 2nd-degree gang assault as a Class C felony carries a sentence of up to 15 years of imprisonment. However, as a violent felony, the prison sentence must be at least 2 years in duration. I don't know if this is completely true. Yeah, here it says, okay, is 2nd-degree assault a felony in New York? Assault in the 2nd degree is the most serious of 3 offenses. It is a Class D felony and carries a possible prison sentence of up to 7 years. Okay, that's for 2nd-degree felony assault. This is 2nd-degree gang assault. Like, you don't want this charge, and you don't even want to have to fight this charge. You just fighting this charge. Let's say you beat it. Was it really worth having to fight a charge like this, just to beat up some 42-year-old woman because she called your kid a bitch? Like, and allegedly called your kid a bitch. Like, your kid said that. Like, I'm not saying the kid lied, but sometimes kids do like exaggerate situations. You don't really know what happened, and even if it did happen, it's like, you can't go around fighting everyone who calls you a bitch. Like, that's just not a way you're going to get through life. Like, what if, let's just throw a scenario out there. What if this shift manager was, like, huge? Like, he was a huge-ass dude with big-ass muscles. Or like, what happens a lot. Like, I used to work at Family Dollar in Niagara Falls, and a lot of these places, they have, like, felons who will work there. Like, when I worked at Family Dollar, one of my store managers and one of my shift managers were both ex-felons. One had been to federal prison and one had been to state prison. So let's say one of them tells your kid, oh, you can't be in here, oh, you can't hang out in here. Then they call your kid a bitch. They actually do. Like, they're like, oh, you're a bitch, oh, fuck you. And then you come in there, who called my kid a bitch? And then this big, yeah, and the one guy I worked with who had been the president. He was like big, 200 pounds. This 200-pound guy walks out. Oh, I called your kid a bitch. And then what are you gonna like? This situation sucks because it's getting politicized. Not politicized. It's getting shown all over the news. So it's becoming like a big deal. So it's gonna be like it's getting a lot of attention. So you really got to worry about like how your sentencing is gonna go because people are watching it. Like I feel like that might make them give you more time, which sucks. People in the comments, of course, gonna be like, oh, they deserve all these years. Like people want like now you have the court of public opinion against you. Like they're paying attention. So that might actually, who knows, that might affect how bad it goes. Hopefully, like, well, I don't know. My opinion on how it should go. Hopefully, don't get too much time for this. I don't want them to get like, but it seems like, but then again, she did. How bad were her injuries? Because they're saying brain bleeding. That sounds pretty bad. But I'm getting off track. What I was trying to say is basically it's just not worth it. I would hope most people understand it's not worth it to fight someone in a Tim Hortons because they called your kid a bitch. Like I have a nephew who's 14, and he's been in some fights and stuff, and I try to convince him all the time that like violence isn't the answer to these issues. Like the slightest offense you shouldn't really fight because of this exact situation. Like you can end up with court cases, you can end up actually getting like seriously hurt. Imagine if they would have hurt this woman. It seems like they hurt this woman pretty bad, but imagine like if you really, like you weren't even trying to hurt them badly, but let's say you actually accidentally, hurt them really badly. Like they ended up paralyzed, they end up paralyzed, or they end up losing an eye, or you break their thumb and then you get like a malicious wounding charge. That type of stuff, like, is it really worth, like, like, I had a scenario recently where I was very upset about something, and, whenever you get very mad about something, the thought always goes through your head of going to fighting and stuff, but I just thought about it, I'm like, Niagara Falls is constantly freaking cold. It sucks to live here. It's always cold. We're finally in the few months of summer we have. Do I really want to spend them in a jail cell or fighting a case? Like, it's just not worth it. Like, sometimes it's better to just take a breath. Like, I had a situation like this, not recently, this was a couple years ago. I had a situation where a fast food place really pissed me off. I went in the drive-thru. This is a place in Niagara Falls. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get into a whole thing with people, but I went to the drive-thru. I ordered a French fry. I just wanted their fries. I really like their fries, so I ordered a fry. I think I ordered 2 fries. So I ordered the fries. I get to the check-in menu. I get to the place where I pay. I give her my card. She's like, "What did you have?" I'm like, "I had 2 fries." She's like, "Do you want like something extra? Do you want like a drink or something?" I'm like, "No." So then she has my card for a while, and I'm waiting, and finally she comes back with my card, gives me my card, gives me the fries, and then I drive off, and I'm like, that was strange. Let me check my card. I'm like, why'd you have my card so long? She's about to like siphon my card, like she's about to like siphon money off my card. Why'd you have my card so long? So I checked my account. She charged me $30 for 2 fries. That should have been like $5. Check the bag, no receipt. So I call them. I explain that exact situation to him. I call him. I say, "Can I talk to a manager?" I talk to the manager. I'm like, "Look, I was just there. I ordered a fry, and she charged, and I got like a $30 charge. Doesn't make sense." And he's like, "Oh, well, you can like charge it back with your bank." I'm like, "I don't. That's not convenient." Like, I'm like, "You see how that's not convenient for me?" He's like, "Well, you think this conversation's convenient for me?" I'm like, "Is there a manager that is like, is your manager there?" This dude hangs up on me, so I call back, and he's like, "If you keep calling here, I'm gonna have the cops I'm gonna have the cops like charge you with like harassment or something." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?" So I was like pissed off. I was about to drive there, but then I just thought about it. I'm like, it's not worth driving there. He might actually call the cops. It's not worth all that. So and that's what I'm saying, like, this is what they should have thought. They should have thought, like, it's not worth it. I guess it was worth it to them, but it wasn't worth it, in my opinion, to go there and attack this woman. Like, yeah, no, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not gonna say she was in the wrong or not. I don't know who's in the wrong here. Or maybe it was just a misunderstanding. But I know whether it's misunderstanding or not, it wasn't worth the consequences to do this. And, yeah, that's the main thing I would say. Is just Like I've been in the exact same scenario. Well, not the exact same scenario, but I've been in scenarios where I've been upset about things, and I just wrote a review. I called corporate. I explained to them what happened. I wrote a review on the page for their location, explaining to people what happened, and I moved on with my life. And it irritated me, but I just let it go because it just wasn't worth it wasn't worth doing anything criminal where I'm going to end up like in a situation like this, and it wasn't worth being all upset about. Like, it's just these things happen. Sometimes you gotta just let things go. But yeah, this is my channel, E-Nation. My name is Antoine Williams. E-Nation is just like an anagram for Antoine. So yeah, more videos to come. Feel free to leave comments, likes, any feedback is greatly appreciated, and enjoy your guys' day.